All right. Good morning. TRS Live, the podcast.
Morning,
we're sitting
guys.
here with Nick and Justin.
Good morning.
And we're talking fall stuff today, right?
We're talking fall salmon.
Feels like fall. What was it? 52 this morning when we got up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I
Beautiful.
put the flannel on for the first time this year.
You look good. You look good. Those still available?
They are still available. So there's small, mediums, and big boy sizes left.
What are big boy sizes? Like
Like
2X?
2X and up.
And those are on therealshot.com?
Yep.
Realshot.com.
And I believe they're on sale, aren't
Yep.
they?
We put them on sale yesterday. $34 a flannel.
Okay.
Ooh.
Down
What was normal on those?
$54.
Oh, smokes.
So it's a good price.
And they're warm, too.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're like...
They're like top-notch flannels.
And they look good. I mean, look.
And they have the TRS with the mountains on it.
Damn right they do. You know, it's for those who like hooded sweatshirts, but like to be a little more stylish. That's where those flannels come into play. Hey, before we get into fall salmon, how many more days are left to the Labor Day
I don't know.
sale? That boy.
Oh, left of the Labor Day
Left of
sale.
the Labor-
Yeah, Labor Day sale.
If you,
We said, because I mentioned
form,
sale
if you form
and
your
Labor
question
Day.
in a complete sentence, I'll nail it. I
Yeah.
promise.
Well, I mentioned sale, and I figured when
It
I
runs-
talked Labor Day, you would know a Labor Day sale.
It runs through today. I think today's the last.
Today 10th?
Today?
Today's the 10th. Yeah.
Today's the 10th?
What's all part of that sale?
We have all of our waterfall on sale, 30% off.
Today's the 8th, by the way.
Today is it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, it runs through today or tomorrow.
The 10th is what I saw.
We'll keep the signs up through tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Through tomorrow. Let's run it.
All right, let's
Everything's
go.
on sale. All our Fenwick's 30% off. We got some President XTs on sale.
The big ones.
The 35s and the 40s, yep, which would play right into what we got going here
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
with all of our rod late salmon selection. The biggest hit on this Labor Day sale was the flatworms.
Yeah, $2.50 a package.
Normal MSRP is $8.99, $9 a bag. We ran a sale all summer at $5.99, and then we just got crazy and $2.50 a bag.
Holy smokes. And that's
And
online too?
That's online too.
And there's no limit?
There is no limit, but the
No
quantities
limit
are
sold.
now limited because we've sold
So many.
The 3.6s are getting low. The 4 1/4s are still pretty plentiful. What else? There's scent control on sale. Everybody's getting ready for prepping for the woods, you included. All the, what is it?
Yeah, waterfall.
No, I'm trying to think of the scent.
Oh, yeah, was it like 20%?
Was 20% off, or he's got to buy 2 get 1 free on some. I'm
Some
just trying to
stuff?
think of the brand
stuff.
that.
It's scent not scent away.
Scent eliminator.
Killer.
Scent killer.
Scent killer. Yeah, scent killer gold. The gold
The
stick.
gold
Oh.
stuff.
Yep. And I mean, Andy could probably bring the website up. That would probably help.
The first time I ever used that stuff, I got nose to nose with a little basket 8 on crawling up a creek.
Really?
It was incredible. Didn't notice anything. Didn't spook.
Really?
It was awesome. I was walking up the creek to my spot, and he comes walking over, and he literally got 4 feet away from me, was staring at me, just turned and walked.
That's impressive.
It was insane. It was the coolest thing I've ever experienced.
That is really good. That's good testimony.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Last piece. We have 10% off all shotguns.
Really?
10% off all of our
Right in
new.
time for all the duck hunting.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's the deal. All the duck
Doves,
hunters, duff
waterfall.
hunters, Benelli, Stoger, Franke, 10% off. You probably will never see a sale on those 3 brands. So come on in, check it out.
Look at how nice this
That's
looks.
cool.
This does look nice.
Yeah,
And
that's Will and Megan. They're doing a great job.
look at that. Labor
Yep.
Day. So you got up to 50% off on ducks.
Yep. Most of the product is 30, but there's some clearance stuff that's marked down up to 50. So there's
Wow.
Tango Free, all the Mojo Mallards, Mojo
I think
Teals, Doves.
Dang.
I think most of the 50 is the apparel though.
Is that what?
It said labor sale
Oh,
up to 50.
Well, yeah.
I don't think any of the waterfalls.
whatever.
More than
I'm just
30.
moving on the fly. It sounded good.
Just making stuff up as you go. That sounds good. You got Vortex stuff too. 10% off all optics.
What?
He's
Holy.
got some smoking deals over in the gun world.
Keep rolling, Andy. What's here? 10% off tactical. Now that's something that's new. You want to talk about that
Brand
a minute?
new.
I can talk
Like
about it a hair. I'm not all that familiar, but Andy could probably chime in too a little bit. So this is what these guys call recreational sports. It's a really popular tactical gear for wearing for obviously military personnel, police officers, but like just the casual folks will have it. The preppers, and then the airsoft crew is huge in that.
Big in airsoft.
I've come to learn in the last few months. So
yep. So that's got a good assortment of that.
Yeah, there's belts, there's backpacks, there's helmets, there's pouches. There's like an accessory pouch for an accessory pouch. Like this guy's got a pretty big assortment.
Yeah.
You know, some of it's up there in price, but there's some very good value, backpacks, and
especially because he's
the helmets are crazy. Check that out.
Yeah.
But that's like ballistic rated. Yeah. Sledgehammer to the head. You probably
military grade.
Yeah. Like it's bulletproof stuff.
Yep.
So yeah. Andy, what'd you say, Andy? Backpacks or what? Oh, he's got it highlighted. There's your backpack kit right there.
There you go.
Yeah. And the shellback, Andy has really been highly praising it. Both Andrews have been highly praising that shellback stuff. Do you see this hair? That's weird.
Is it in the mic?
It's right there.
Do you want to know I did your mic before you put your mic on?
I saw him a drumstick. The right one had a chip in it. So there you go. So then what else we got? What else? Keep rolling. Knives?
Knives, yeah. The Templar, these are cool. These are basically switchblade knives.
Are those illegal?
You can, if you have your concealed carry, you can have them.
Yep.
Dang. That's the one with the hidden.
Yeah, the hinge is right here.
Yeah, those are pretty neat.
Slide this hinge this way, and that thing has got a spring in it. I mean, that thing almost jumps out of your hand.
Yeah, it does.
That is built very well.
It's pretty neat. They're pretty sharp right out the box. And then here's the 30% off certain waterfall.
Those are like kind of like fidget spinners for adults.
Yes.
Yes, because you just keep on flicking them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're out in public, just keep flicking it.
Yep.
Well, there you go, everybody. Sold out. People have been snatching up the doves. It's dove season.
Yep.
Ooh.
Dang. All right. Well, cool. So there you go, everybody. Don't miss out. You got, according to Justin, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, or Sunday. But the store's closed.
Sunday we're closed. It'll probably run online through Sunday. In store we'll run it through Saturday.
Oh, look at this. Dude, there's so many things. Go to therealshot.com. Just shop around. There's basically everything's on sale.
We got all of our apparel on sale.
Now,
rain gear on sale.
Why is this stuff in front of us important? What are we doing here?
Well, we brought Nick, our salmon extraordinaire, guru of all things kings and cohos and salmonoids.
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
And this is his favorite time of year, and this is his favorite gear. So this is all stuff we carry at the shop. Nick's just kind of going to go through and describe some of his prep, some of his techniques, a little bit of tackle he uses, and all that fun stuff.
All right, Nikki, roll into it.
Yeah, so the salmon are coming. They are loaded in the harbors, outside of the harbors, and they are getting ready to come up. The 2 to 4 year olds are ready and anxious to get their job done and die. So they don't make it, they don't come back out, they come in, they die. So most of those fish are 3 to 4 years old. Some 2-year-olds come in, which is a very short life expectancy for a salmon. But we take advantage of it in the fall because they put on a fight.
Yep.
It's incredible. And what I do is I do guide. I drift with bobbers and eggs, and they are so territorial that they do not want another egg competing with their eggs, so they chomp it and try to kill it. And that's why we float the eggs. And then we catch the little living daylights out of it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is a blast.
Kind of an interesting fact. People think they eat, they're eating the eggs like every fish eats to eat.
No.
Yep.
But so when
they come in that shallow water to spawn, and they're in the spawn phase, they start darkening, their males start hooking jaws. They are not eating anymore. Right now, they'll just reaction bites. So if you throw something flashy in their face, something that glows, or just a jigging reaction, you're ripping it up right in front of their face, they'll attack it. They're not eating, they're just territorial. It's a reaction bite.
No crap. How do they know their eggs from other eggs?
It just looks like an egg. So they're just. So
you think they consume their own eggs?
Probably a scent, pheromone. It's science. I don't want to really get into it, but
yeah, that's crazy.
Real deep.
I really honestly didn't know that. That's what they're either eating eggs because they're so territorial.
Yep, territorial.
And I think like the spoons and the flashy, right? They're just hardwired to consume.
Yep.
They don't go from 0 to 28 pounds in
Right.
4 years, not eating a lot of stuff.
All right. So here's my next question then. How long does it take a fish to be mature enough to spawn? Is it 3 to 4 years?
Yep. So, I mean, even 2-year-olds come in. So, I mean, the typical is 3 years old.
Okay.
3 and 4 years old. So
They won't come back to the river until they're 3 or 4
Oh,
years
look at
old.
that. I was just talking about that, Justin. That's my video last
Look at
year.
the guns on that, bro.
Oh, my
How
gosh.
many push-ups do you do a day?
Jeez.
Where is this video?
getting
You did
his
this for
spot.
the store, right?
Yeah, I did this for the store.
We were just talking about
Where'd you find this, Andy? Okay, so this is on the Real Shot YouTube channel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. This is you making eggs.
Yep.
Cure?
Curing the eggs.
All right.
So step 1 is got to catch a king with the eggs.
Right. Yeah. Step 1, you got to catch the king with the eggs. Bleed it out immediately after you catch it. Immediately.
How do you bleed them out?
You just rip the gills out, cut the under,
Let them bleed out in water.
and then let them bleed out in the water for like 5-10 minutes, and then all that blood will rush out through. All the blood will come out through the fish and out of the eggs, and that's how you get your best product, the eggs.
Okay. All right. So that's what we're looking here.
So that's step 1.
And then no, that's step 1 completed. That's a two
Yeah, this
rows
is-
or
this
two
is step
skeins.
one. You can see all the blood is out. They're nice, bright orange. None of the red is in there.
That's pretty neat.
Now
Okay,
you got
so
them on paper towels. You're drying them out.
Yep. So then you dry them out. You want to make sure all that water and moisture is gone, because the process with the Potski, it pulls out the inside of the egg, and then it does its thing. It does its chemical reaction, and then it puts all the juices back
what
inside
did you
of
call
the
it?
egg.
The what? The Posky?
Potski.
So
So
the
they're the,
Potski is the curing agent
Okay.
made out of borax and salt and sugar and a couple different flavors, like krill too. It is awesome.
It's like a chemist thing, right? There's all
Yep.
kinds of
a whole-
online recipes
that's
and
right
stuff,
there
but
too,
Potski
yeah.
simplified the process.
Yep.
You can get cures in 3 different
Yep.
ways. Explain the different cures. I don't really understand them as well as you do.
Okay, so Potski Boraxifier is a borax blend. So you can do your own with just borax, salt, and sugar and mix it up yourself. But Potski simplified it into one container, and this is really all you need. So all you do is lightly sprinkle every single egg. Make sure every egg gets hit. Not too much though, because you can burn the egg and it'll get too hard. So you have to sprinkle it lightly, but make sure you have to get every single egg, like I explained in the video, and you can massage it in so every egg gets hit, and then you store it in the fridge for 24 hours. The first 6 hours, I would recommend every hour just shaking it around, making sure every egg is
Coated?
is coated up.
In the bag. And when you store it, you just put it back in a Ziploc bag,
Yep,
right?
put it back in the Ziploc bag. If you're going to use it within 3 to 4 weeks, then it's fine just in the refrigerator. If you're going to save it for a few weeks to next year, you can vacuum seal it in a vacuum seal bag and
Okay.
freeze it. Because you can't freeze eggs unless they're cured, because they'll pop and break, and
Just like anything, you freeze it, it changes the chemical.
Yeah.
It just
it
they get
changes
soft.
everything.
So here I was gonna say wear gloves, but you obviously have the shake and bake bag technique. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
nice.
So this is the mess-free technique.
I just learned something.
Is that so? But okay, now I missed it. You didn't put cure on them right away. You just put it in the bag twice, right? Once
So
below.
I put a layer on below,
Yep.
and then I put the membrane side down, so that lays in that right there. And then on the top, I make sure inside of the bag I sprinkle every egg, and then I can massage it with it inside the bag, so I'm not touching it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, you don't want that dye in the. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not.
the other
it's
wa-
not
the other
bad
way
for you,
is
but
to lay it on the towel and then wear gloves and massage it in so every egg gets hit.
Every
But you can see I can do it while it's inside the bag and not even touch the egg.
Yep, that's a good idea.
How long do you then once you got it all sprinkled up? How long do you let it cure? Just do you
About
let it
24 hours.
Dry out a little bit.
Yep, 24 hours.
Do you leave it out or do you keep it in the
no,
fridge?
I keep it in the bag in the fridge
Okay.
to do its thing.
Then it's ready to cook after 24. She's ready to get.
Yep, she's ready to
screaming.
go.
So does it matter that you said there's like flavors of it? Does that really matter?
It's
Yeah,
more,
I have
it's-
my own secret additives.
Can you tell us what that is?
Everybody else has their own additives, but I mean, it's just a recipe that I've perfected, and it works a lot better.
Do you use that firepower?
I do not. That's more of a West Coast thing.
Okay.
It's really popular West
We do
Coast.
sell quite a bit of
We
it.
do sell it. I mean, it's always good to have different flavors.
Yeah, okay. So if they're territorial, that's what I was wondering. If they're territorial, does the flavor really matter to them? And what about the color in that situation? Because
Yeah,
like that
so-
day we fished, I think we were trying the red or the orange
Pink.
and the pink.
Yep.
And that day it just seemed like the pink was the better color.
Yep. So I start with pink always.
Okay.
That's my favorite color. And then if that's not working, then I'll start switching up.
Okay.
Yep,
So
so
that
then
was
I'll
the-
go to natural orange.
What's okay? You go ahead. No, that was just saying that was
What's
the
that?
shake. What's the liquid? That's just
The liquid is my favorite for single egg. So if you have a fish that's dumping and the membrane's gone already, all the way up, that happens when they're all the way up, ready to spawn. Then I'll use those single eggs with that, and then I'll just pour it in the bag, let it do its thing, and then 48 hours later, I'll take them out, dry them out, and then I'll bag them up into these for browns and steelheaded later in the year.
What is that? I don't know what that is. What is
So this
that?
is the spawn netting. It comes in these squares too that are perfectly cut for you, or you can cut your own sizes in the rolls. So then you'll just put a few eggs in here, wrap it up, tie it with the magic thread around the top. You don't have to tie a knot because it's elastic. Super sweet. So you just wrap it around, pull it, trim it, you're done.
Huh.
that thread's really cool.
Yeah,
It's just so
the
it's
thread
so
is
fast
awesome.
to tie bags. We will have a kit too.
Yep.
I know Nick doesn't need a kit. He's a skilled bag tire, but they make a little kit.
Yeah, they make a kit that's
It's a little
lot
metal
easier,
thing that
but
opens up. You can set your mesh on top, put your eggs in, close it, and then you can just wrap it off.
Yeah,
So
it's
when
pretty
is
slick.
when is it the difference that you're going from what you did here to that? Like when are you doing that?
In the later fall.
Okay.
For when the browns and the steelhead come in to feed on the king eggs and stuff, then you can start floating sacks in the current.
Okay.
So what Nick is saying is like when the kings first come in, that their egg rows or their skein
tight.
rows are tight. Everything's connected with a membrane. But then as they're in the river, as they get closer to their spawn,
They break.
then the membrane starts to break down. The eggs get loose. It's
Yep.
same for all species. Like you
Yep.
catch a walleye in the summer, fillet it if it's a female, it'll have a tight roe sack or egg sac.
Mm-hmm.
But if you catch that same walleye in the spring when the water's around 42 degrees, those eggs will be running out of her
Yep.
because she's ready to spawn.
Yep.
So that's where Nick, early season, he'll dye a skein, run it. You'll just hook the skein to the hook, right?
Yep,
No
so I
bag
tie-
system, nothing.
I tie an egg loop knot, so it's a special knot where the main line comes out of the hook, and then you wrap it around the sack, and then it just tightens onto that membrane, and then it just looks like a perfect.
Isn't it basically just a snell you slide up?
It's a snell, but then halfway up the snell, you put there's the line that comes out through the eye. So there's a little so when the line goes through the eye, you can pull out through the eye and use that main line to wrap.
Yep.
the
There
ends.
is, Andy, if you bring up Fixed TV, there is a guided life where Nick goes over this process on the show. You can just show everybody what episode
did
it was.
Did it
yeah,
make it?
it's-
Okay.
Yeah, it's on there, and then you go in more in depth on like what we're
Yep.
doing today. You go rod, but we're right on location. Then I
Yep.
think I got you showing me that egg knot that
Yep.
day. What did we catch that day? 4, and you got you got a steely
Coho.
at the end.
Coho.
Oh, coho, that's what it
Yep.
was. Yeah. That was a fun day. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. So then, like, okay, so this is natural that we're talking about. Are there days, because I see it in front of us, are there days where artificial will outfish a natural, or do you not ever go that way?
This time of year, Labor Day on, it's all eggs.
It's all eggs.
All
so
eggs.
what about like what do you have there? The power bait and then that little jar. Those are imitation eggs?
Yeah, imitation. So if you do not have eggs, I mean, I haven't floated these yet, but they looked pretty juicy, so we added them to the system. I heard a lot of guys using them just bottom fishing at night in the harbor, and they come. What they do is they drop shot, and then they just leave it set. So when those fish are cruising on the bottom, when they're coming in to spawn, they're like, "What the heck is that?" And then they check it out, and they get caught in the face with the treble hook. So that's what those guys are using in the harbors at night when they're just coming in.
But that's a nice replacement if you
don't have any eggs.
You know, if you have to catch a fish to get the eggs, that's
Right.
where you can get that from.
Exactly. And if you're in faster current, these eggs look beautiful. I mean,
What brand is that one?
this is Potsky too. So
Okay.
Yeah, we got a whole variety of different sizes, scents. Some have glitter.
Yep.
There's jars and jars of goodness out on that end cap.
Yeah, this is the one we were talking about.
Oh, look at that.
We had a
Hey.
fun
Pretty cool.
day. Yeah, we had a nice. It was,
Yeah, my daughter came, Grayson. She got a couple.
Yeah, so if you watch this one, this is where you see like Nick's breaking down the technique. He talks about rod reels and all that stuff, basically like here. But then there's some fish catches in there too.
Yep, there's some fish catches.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, so it's
Did make
up
it.
there. It's on Fixed TV,
Cool.
dog. I told you, it made it. It
Awesome.
up there.
I'm
Look
gonna
at-
have to pull it up later and play it.
Look at that. Here's Nick hooked up. This is what I was surprised about. Like, okay, so bobber fishing, when a bobber goes down, usually the fish is on. Okay. And I didn't realize with working with Nick on this, there's a technique to
Yeah.
the hook set.
Yep.
When you're, what do you call it? Float fishing
Float
or
fishing.
blobber fishing, whatever.
So you can't swing right away hard like you would bass fishing.
Yes.
You have to reel into the fish.
Yes.
So you have to get all that slack out first before you
Yep.
give it a little pressure.
Right. But it was weird because, like, usually
It took you a while to figure it
did.
out.
It
It took
did.
you, I don't know, six or seven
Well,
drops.
and what I meant by that is obviously bobber fishing, you got to get the slack out, but like
Yep.
they're not always on. Like they'll
Right.
take your bobber down, but it seems like as quickly as the bobber goes down, sometimes
Yeah,
they're spitting it or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think
Yeah,
they
they bite real
just
real
taste
light.
it sometimes too and
yeah,
spit it,
they bite real light.
Yep.
which is crazy for a 25, 30-pound fish that can empty your drag in 14 seconds,
Yep.
and they're just nipping on it.
Yeah. So here he's talking
Yep,
about
there's the
rigging
egg.
it up with the egg sinkers and the.
Where's
And
your
we did try a
treble
couple
hooks?
different things. We tried some. What was that?
So where's your weighted treble hooks?
No weighted treble
Oh,
hooks.
jeez.
Not legal no more.
Used to be legal. True story. Kind of funny.
Really?
Oh,
Used
yeah.
to be, yeah.
There's some places you can still snag them.
We tried like that was a floating Rapala, I think, right? And
Yeah,
we
for the
tried
colos.
Did you bring the VMC with
Twitch
you?
and jigs, I did not.
Yeah, okay, the twitch and jigs.
So we added some more. So the VMC twitch and jig is one of the steelhead jigs. We also carry Yakima's like a little beaded head steelhead jig with some marabou and some chenille, and Great Lakes Steelhead Company, which are the imitation trickum beads that we sell. They have a whole bunch that they came out with. We added those too. I'm hoping those will be here either today or early next week.
Okay, so this is an area that with Nick's help we've really grown this area.
Yeah.
I mean, Great Lakes in the big water has always been a number one for us, but going into this kind of style technique, this is an area that we've really, really blossomed into.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. You guys are watching this. We got to keep talking here. So what else we got there?
I gotta watch it later.
You gotta watch it later. Yeah,
I didn't know it made it to production.
It's been
so
out there
cool.
for a while, dog. It's been out there for a while.
Cool.
All right, so we talked about the curing system, and if you want more in depth, go to the Real Shot YouTube channel. Nick does a great job breaking that down. Now, what about? Let's work our way up. So we got line. Okay, what do you
Line.
recommend for your line?
So I do like a 15 to 20 pound mainline braid. High vis is definitely recommended because so you can see your line when you need to mend it. If it's too slacky, you don't want any slack when that bobber goes down, obviously, because then you have to reel like the dickens to get down to the fish and then set the hook.
Yep.
So high vis, 15 to 20 pound braid, and then your slip bobber is going to go on that. And then your slip bobber knot, if you're fishing in deeper water, you can run a slip bobber. So if anything less than probably 6-7 feet, then you can run a fixed float, like these blood run fixed floats. These are pretty slick too. And then you just need the rubber top and bottom right here. Just cut a 1/4 inch and it snugs it down to the line onto. And then you just start fishing, and then you can move it periodically up and down. And I do that in less than 8 feet of water, but most of the time I'm running a split bobber because it's more versatile.
Yep.
Because I can fish anywhere from 4 foot to 20 foot.
Real quickly.
On the fly.
Yep.
So that's why I run the slip bobber most of the time.
What's your leader line?
My leader line is going to be, if I'm in real clear water, I'll go down to 6, but if I'm in dirty water, I typically run around 10 to 12. And if I'm in thick cover and dirtier water, then I'll even go up to 16.
What do you run for lengths on those leaders? Because you're running high vis.
Yep. So in the faster currents in the shallower water, then I'll run 2.5 to 18 inch
So
lead.
pretty standard.
And then if I'm fishing deeper holes, then I'll go to a 3.5, 4 foot lead.
Do you use a connection knot or do you use this barrel swivel?
So a barrel swivel from the main line to your barrel swivel to your leader line.
Okay.
So, and then that helps because they're always twisting and turning and trying to wreck your line. So that barrel swivel really helps with line twists and screwing up your braid.
How do you run your shot and current? Your weight system?
So I don't run any shot in the slower, deeper holes. It's just
The skein has enough weight to sink itself
the
down.
the skein
Yep.
sinks itself. So, and it's usually a slower flow. This time of year, there's really not much current where I fish
Especially
anyway.
this year.
Yeah, this year.
Because this year we don't have any rain at all, so
Yep.
it's super slow.
Do you think it's going to be a quick run this year with the low water, or as
No,
long
I
as we
think it's
stay
gonna. I think without the rain, they're gonna stay in the deeper holes, and I'm gonna have them to myself.
cool? You're going to have a lot of good times.
I'm gonna have a good time.
I'll find you.
What are the conditions when they start moving up? What do they need condition wise to move into the rivers?
Rain.
That's what it boils
West
down
wind,
to.
cold water, rain.
Yep.
That's the best combo.
So you'll get the west and south winds that bring the cold water in, which brings the fish to set up outside the harbor.
Yep.
And then all you need from there is fresh rain for them to want to shoot up. And if they get anxious and their eggs are softening up and they think it's time to go, regardless, they're going to shoot up.
They're gonna go.
Yeah.
So the little bit of cold front that we had from like last week to this week, is that enough to get things moving?
Yeah. A few fish started going up.
Okay.
Without the.
And you
without
should
the
find
flow.
all your harbors, break walls, all that. You should have fish.
Yep. Every
in your
tributary
marinas.
in Lake Michigan gets a fall return.
Okay. All right. So we covered our line. Was there a brand that you recommended line wise? Does it matter?
I like the grittier stuff, especially if you're in wood, or any concrete or rocks and stuff like that. It's more abrasion resistant. I like either a Power Pro, or what I use is a Suffolk or the Sunline SX1 16 pound is what I prefer. But 15, 20 pound Power Pro will do the job.
Do the job too. Okay, so Justin's really playing with these fishing poles here. What are we looking for in a rod to do this?
So at least a minimum of an 8.6 just to keep your line up out of the water if you're in a drift. And it really helps fighting those fish too, because they have massive head shakes, and that parabolic bend is what you need in a head shaking fish.
So what do we have here, Justin?
So we got a variety. We got the Daiwa Acculights. This is our value brand. These are $60.
Yep.
I think we got 2 or 3 different actions. We got anywhere from like a medium light up to a medium heavy. So it's for the medium light stuff's for the drift and the float and
Yep.
some of the beads.
I
setups.
used them for the last 3 years for guiding for my clients, and they done the job.
They're
Okay.
great. They're a great rod. We also carry the St. Croix Triumph, Nick's favorite.
Yep. Those
Yep.
are the favorite.
There's your Triumph. I don't know which one I grabbed.
At a minimum, you're saying 8'6".
8.6, yeah. Minimum.
You got it. You want the length. fish, if you hook one on a 7 versus an 8, you will definitely notice that the rod absorbs, like Nick
More
said,
shock.
all the head shakes.
Head shakes.
Plus, it just gives the angler more power to battle that
Yep.
fish.
Yeah, there's a lot more power inside of a
And we got
longer
the
rod.
Temple Fork Sea Run series too. These are really nice. This is a little bit higher end setup. I think these are like 150.
it says on the back.
150.
What is the big time difference though? Like, I mean, what are they gaining by going to the TFO versus the Aculite?
It's like any rod. So the graphite increases,
Components.
sensitivity increases. Even though this is not an application where sensitivity is all that big a deal, you're going to get a little lighter weight rod.
Right,
If you're
light-
standing in a stream 8 hours a day,
Fatigue.
yep.
You don't want a heavy setup because
Yep.
you're standing there sitting it, holding it all day long. You don't want to.
Right.
You don't
You want
want a
something
heavy
comfortable.
setup. You want something real comfortable.
Yeah, you're not driving a rod holder in the ground and just waiting for your bobber to go under. That
Nope.
don't work.
It doesn't work.
It does not work. What about reels then? What are we pairing with here for a reel?
So if you're in a pure fishing brand, Abu or Fluger, then you're gonna look for a 35 size and up. If you're looking at like a Shimano Daiwa, then you're gonna look at a 3000 and up because you want that line capacity. Because as soon as you set that hook game on, they're gonna rip.
Yep.
Rip
Oh
drag.
yeah, they
And
do.
they can shoot down the river, especially right now when they just enter the river. They're so green that they can rip out 60, 70, 100, no problem down the river, and you're chasing.
Yep. So a very good drag system.
Good smooth drag system
Is
is
it-
much needed.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So that's something you got to look for when you're doing this. Not only the bigger size reel, but something with a great quality drag.
Yep. My favorite drags are Abu drags. They're so smooth
Yep.
that there's no jerkiness to them. There's no initial hard and then smooth out like some of the reels do.
Yep.
They're just a solid smooth all the way through.
So if somebody's looking to get started in this stuff, they're saying that they want the Aculite, right? Okay, because we're budget minded right now.
$60.
Yep.
Yep. What's the
60
reel
bucks.
then? What is your budget minded reel that would pair well with that?
President 35.
Okay.
50, we got them on sale for $50.
Yep.
So that for
110 bucks, you're into the setup now.
Yep. You
Yep.
upgrade to the President XT, those are on sale too.
Yep.
For $20 more, you get a lighter reel, carbon fiber handle, upgraded drag system, and
And I think one extra bearing
one extra bearing.
to make that.
And it's a
little bit
6.2 to
smoother.
1.2, so that's important too. So you're not reeling as fast as you can
Yeah, that's
to
something
get
that
in.
people don't realize. Like
Yep.
spinning reels, typically, like casting reels, you can get an 8-1 to gear ratio, 10-1, 9.
Yep.
Spinning 6-2, maybe you'll see a 7 once in a
And
while.
There's a lot
Five's
more
really
companies
common.
coming out with ratios.
Five's the most common. Nick's right. When those fish, so they can go back to you as fast as they left
Yeah.
you. So
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they'll run at you as soon as they go down the river. They'll turn around and you have to pick up line to bring them back. But initially on the hook set too, you want to pick up all that line real fast. So then that helps with this higher gear ratio too.
Well, here we go. So we got some questions coming in. Can a newbie salmon fish successfully? Well, yeah, Nick
With
would.
my YouTube videos, or you just hire me for the day and figure it out.
And is it easy to get started for those who are considering it? And that's kind of what we just talked about. How much would a total package for a starter get? So we just kind of covered that.
Yeah,
It's not that hard.
No.
Is the hardest part about this knowing where to go?
I mean,
Yes.
there's a whole this is a
100%.
whole separate. This is a whole separate segment of the salmon. There's a lot of guys that'll troll the harbors. Like Jess and I will go throw spoons in the harbors, or
This time of year.
now with the live scope, go to the marinas, go down to wherever, any of the marinas, and look for pods of fish running around and side image them and live scope them and snap spoons in their faces. You'll get bit too.
It's
I
getting
throw
so popular. There's more boats than I've ever seen in the harbor.
Really?
Jigging,
Which is-
skating.
Well, and so talk to the quality of the fish in the fall too. It's not like going out in July catching 3 and 4 year olds out in 100 feet of water. Like these fish are starting to deteriorate, right?
Yep.
So like you may say you catch 20 fish in a day. How many fish potentially maybe of good eating quality? And so
All of
the
them.
whole eating quality is a debate too. Smoke it, can it, whatever. But
Yep.
like fresh on the grill salmon this time of year is not all that common.
No, this is probably the week cutoff.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's more of a sport. I like to have fun and hear my reel
So
scream.
they start tanning, then they start losing their color, which is not ideal grill table fare. So what I do with those fish, I smoke them all. You can can them. I prefer smoke because I just love smoked salmon. And I make an amazing smoked salmon dip. I bring it in for the guys all the time in the fall. But on a cracker that says
Put it on a cracker, dude.
Put it on a cracker.
That is, so if we continue this next week, right, I think maybe there is some, do you have any salmon you could you make that salmon dip?
Oh, see, he just wants you to come in for the dip. What kind of shit? What kind of shit is
there
that?
a way we could do this? Like,
if I get some done up from this weekend and then pick it up maybe Wednesday for my trip,
we could do
that. Or we could do it if it's not like if we can't do it next Friday,
we can do it within the next few weeks.
Okay,
for sure.
I think that would be kind of neat just to see like,
and then we can even actually make it right.
That's
here.
what I was saying. Like if you have it, you can bring it in here. Just give away a little recipe idea. Yeah. I don't know if it's like secret to your heart, near and dear family tradition,
easy.
But yeah,
easy peasy.
Well, and that's I mean, because you brought up to me is like. Maybe it's not a hot topic, but like you're fishing for them this time of year, but you're also saying that the table fare is maybe not as high quality unless you're going to smoke it or can it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
For some people, they're like, well, I want to eat these damn things. Now you could grill it, right? Yep. And I think that would be important if we covered that is what exactly are you looking for a fish that's potentially still grillable?
Yep.
To a fish that's nope, you better smoke that sucker. You know,
sometimes it's hard to tell.
You just want the best quality out of what you're catching.
And can you tell that before you fillet these fish?
Yep. So if you open that fish up and it's not bright red, smoke it.
Smoke it. Okay.
So they basically go from a bright reddish, orangish,
orange,
deep,
and we're talking the meat,
the meat color to a white, soft. Like the meat is, the fish are literally deteriorating.
Yeah, I get it.
Like they're not
usually
eating.
Don't
they're just
deteriorate
dying.
Until they're up in the shallow water, ready to spawn. When they first enter the river in the holes, they're still firm.
Yep.
Gaia. All right. Can you? I don't know if this is legal. First and foremost, if they are like,
well, no, just ask.
If they're like basically almost deteriorating, okay.
Yep.
Are those fish past the point of like? Can you just grab that fish and?
No.
You have to hook and line it?
You have to hook and line it.
Yeah. Okay.
Same rules apply in the mouth. Like there's people.
You see it all the time though. If you walk the shallow runs, you'll see people with nets running up and down trying to net.
And that is illegal.
Illegal.
I bet you that's the fall salmon run is probably when the DNR write the most of their tickets.
Right.
Like because
that's when we need the DNR the most because they don't catch nearly as much as I see.
It's weird to me though that they're writing tickets for something that's basically dead anyways.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
And where I fish, we have a salmon collection facility. So if they make it up and they collect the eggs and then we get hatchery fish for the next year to come.
Perfect.
So it's not as important in the rivers that don't have a facility, but in the rivers that do have a facility, it's really important for those fish to go up and get a good solid egg collection.
And do what they're supposed to do. What do we need license-wise to do this?
You need a Great Lakes salmon stamp.
Okay.
So up to the first dam in a tributary, you need a Great Lakes stamp. Above that dam, you need an inland trout stamp.
Inland, okay. So you're better off just having both, right?
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well, the inland is Great Lakes. You're done, right?
Yep.
No, I mean they don't get past the first dams typically
For the salmon, anyway.
For the salmon,
Yep. So there's still browns.
So if you want to do this, Great
other
Lakes trout stamp, skip the inland. You're done.
If you want to do this,
normal fishing
specifically.
license,
Yep.
obviously, and that's all you need. So this is kind of an interesting fact. I looked this up yesterday. They claim now that 40 to 68% of the salmon that are caught and harvested are actually natural reproduction salmon. I know it's a huge debate, but it was on the DNR's website.
Are they finally admitting more natural production? I haven't been keeping track of it.
We'll look it up. I'll show you where I found it.
Why is that a hot button?
In mine,
in
my opinion, I think they are
naturally
reproducing a lot more than they used to.
And that's good for us.
And that's great for us.
Okay. So I just don't. Why would people say they're not naturally?
Because they want to keep the hatchery production.
Okay.
In which I think you need it like this is a put and take fishery a lot of, because they 3 or 4 year old, they die, right? So
Right.
if you don't harvest them, they don't necessarily go to waste. Mother Nature takes care of the waste, but they're heavily fished in the summer. So I don't know if natural is enough to support the anglers.
No.
But the combination,
Because we see
is
that
great.
in Alaska right now. Numbers are dwindling
yeah,
from the natural reproduction. And they're going to start having to produce hatchery fish up there too to keep their numbers up.
That makes sense. I mean, well, like where I live in Wild Rose, we have probably one of the bigger hatcheries in the state.
Yep.
And I know they do a lot of all of it. I'm just talking when I coach with the guys, and he's talking about muskies, Justin, like how they're getting the fingerlings out and all that kind of stuff too. But that keeps those guys busy as well. So I think there's a fair balance of both. But do you notice a quality of fish versus natural versus raising a hatchery?
Not really.
No.
They're feeding on the same thing.
yeah,
Yep.
it's the same. I mean, they're taking the same fish. That fish may have dumped half her eggs by the time she got to the fishery. You might have one
Right.
fish that contributes to both, right?
Yeah.
So they're milking those fish, the same fish that Nick probably caught and let go, makes it up to the hatchery. They milk it, whatever's left. They mix it with the I don't know, salmon sperm, whatever, I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
Milt.
The
Excuse
good
me.
stuff.
Yep.
The milt.
So Andy asked me, you do need 2 different licenses, Andy. So anytime you're trout fishing in the state of Wisconsin, your regular fishing license does not cover that. Whether you're, like Nick said and Justin said, on the Great Lakes or you're inland trout fishing, that is an additional purchase. I think it's like $10.
$10 each.
$10 either way. Yep.
Each, yep.
So it's if you're Great Lakes, it's 10. If you're inland, it's 10. If you want to do both, it's an extra 20
Right.
to your license. But that is because trout are different and salmon are different, right? They're not your typically your inland
Because
and all
they're
that.
hatched.
Yep.
And DNR wants revenue for the hatchery.
Correct.
'Cause
Yep.
that's not, I'm sure it's not a cheap operation.
No, and
No,
it's
you
a
gotta
little
hire
specialized.
people. You
Yeah.
got your equipment.
You got biologists probably involved.
Yep.
Not probably, you do.
You do.
Yep, you have to.
You got some specialized skill sets there. So
Yep. Now, I like Alex's question here. Have you ever done this out of a kayak, or are you always just a bank pounder?
A couple times. But when
I see kayak guys in the harbors all the time.
all the time,
In the harbors, but what about up in the streams and stuff?
you can get to good spots using a kayak for sure.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How do you, because you're constantly moving, like, how, do you just pull off to a bank then and just
Yep.
kind of fasten up to a bank and then
Yep.
just drift those holes?
Yep, as long as it's public water or a public land.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that's important.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for in these spots? Like, because the day we went, we couldn't see fish.
Yep.
It was pretty muddy that day.
Yep. So I'm looking for the holes below a run that will hold fish.
Okay. You
So
want
a
to ask
run-
them questions. What's a run?
Run is shallow water in rapids, and then it drops down into a hole or bend.
Okay.
And that's where those fish are going to be laying up before they shoot up the rapids.
How do you scout these spots without giving away too much Nick information? Like,
But just
do you go
explain to
into
them how a
winter?
river lays out, right? If it's a
Right.
long stretch of river with no bends, it's typically probably going to be a shallow stretch.
Okay.
Yep.
And like any river system, look at those big 90s or those big hairpins.
Yep.
Usually in the spring when the water flows, it blows those corners out. So any of your big corners typically will be a deeper section of the river.
Yep.
It's
Right.
not always true, right? There'll be
No.
deep sections randomly anywhere. But I think, small rivers and tribs that you can't navigate with a boat, you just have to spend time on.
You just got to
Yep.
spend time on.
I mean, Nick's been doing this for a long time. so-
Yeah, and that's why I'm not trying to
mean, he's not
have
that
Nick
old,
give away
but-
certain things. But like, are there some holes structure that you find hold more fish than other, like wood
Hard
or
bottom.
rock or what was that?
Hard bottom.
Hard bottom.
Yep.
Because their spawning is like walleye spawning, right? Gravel riffles.
Yep.
They want hard bottom, fast current.
Couple pieces of wood to tuck behind once in a while.
Yep, to get out of the current. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is awesome stuff. What else did we cover everything? I know you guys got to get back to doing sales floor stuff
really?
too. What's that?
No, we can milk out the rest of the day. We're going to lunch after. What time is it? 9:30?
You're gonna go eat some salmon dip.
Yeah, buddy.
So we covered rod reels, a lot of this stuff too. You guys made it sound like there's really good sales going on and selections of some of this stuff.
Net. You need a good net.
Yep.
Yeah.
You-
Beckmans are
It's important.
the way to go. I like the bigger netting that starts in the 31, 36. That's my favorite net for salmon. It's nice and deep and wide. It's perfect.
And with our a la carte Beckman handle net selection, you can pick your bag, pick your handle. You can take your same summer net you used, whatever, right? And then you just buy a shorter handle for your stream stuff, and away you go.
So if you're out trolling or whatnot, you can use the 6 to 9 handle. If you're in short, just swap that handle to the 4-footer, and that's all you need.
That's all you need. Perfect. What about fish care once you catch one? Like, what do you do with it then once you catch that fish?
So I bleed it immediately if it has eggs.
And how do you tell that?
The belly, you can see, is pretty full.
Okay.
And it doesn't have a hook jaw.
So
they have the rounder.
Hook jaw is typically a male then.
Yep, hook jaws is a male. And then I just keep them in the river for a little bit and then throw them on ice and within an hour or two, if I can.
Yep.
But if the water's cold, I just keep them in the...
Like a stringer or something like that?
Keep them on a rope, yep.
Yep. Is there a bag limit?
5 a person.
5 a day?
Try to carry your 5 out.
Yeah. Well, you saw that fish. I mean, that was a male. I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
Is that 20 pounds?
Lawn carts are your friend.
Lawn carts are your friend.
Lawn carts.
That's
so what I did this year
cooler on wheels, right?
Is I did a lawn cart, a heavy duty long. I can't even talk today.
It's a tough word. Yep.
And then I went to Walmart and I got a tote that fits perfectly inside the lawn cart. So I can haul as much as I want.
Yeah.
With ease.
Well, the pier guys do this too. Like you're walking.
Yep.
If you're walking out on a pier head, you might go up, it might be a 400-yard walk.
Yeah.
You know, if he's walking to find spots and tribs on public, he might walk for a half a mile,
right.
3/4. I don't know. He might walk for 2 miles. You know? By the time you're done, you're just not going to carry all that gear. You know, he's got a sack of eggs. He's got his tackle.
Yep.
And then if he has fish to take home, you're not.
He even makes lunch.
And he even does lunch.
He makes lunch. I didn't get the lunch day.
No, you probably didn't get the upgraded package.
Yeah, I didn't pay the extra money for the upgraded package.
Yeah.
It was a fun day, though. I'll admit, having your daughter there, that was neat. Was that she caught like her?
She caught 3 on the next time we were down there by herself.
Yeah, and was the day we went though, was that like one of the first days she caught one like unassisted for the most part? I know she caught one, you kind of hooked it, but then you let her do most of the reeling that day.
Yep. So, I mean, that was one of her first times catching kings.
Yeah.
And she's how old?
She was 6 at that time.
Yeah.
It's a youngster.
The first one almost pulled her in, but she got a handle on it the second fish.
Yeah, and it was neat. I mean, like there's something kind of to keep the kids occupied, right? I would recommend if it was a little slower, but it was hotter that day. I don't know if that paid, effect on it.
Yeah, she was down to her boots in the water and playing with
in
the water
and but it's fun. It was a blast. I was surprised how like lack of current we had in some of those spots, but there's fish everywhere.
So in the lower holes there is a steady current at some times, but then the tide brings the water back up in the lower pools, which is called a sash. So
it's a lot of terminology here.
So as long as the bobber is moving and your eggs are floating at a certain speed, then they're going to be eaten.
Okay.
So
excellent.
Well, those guys on the pier heads too fish them off the bottom, right?
Yep.
There's so many applications and places to do this. They just go to the break wall pier heads. They cast them out on egg sinkers, slip floats, and float or non-float. I guess that's a debate there.
Yep.
Or have both. What do they do? Tie them over their beer bottles and wait till they tip over?
Yeah, no, they just open their bail, put the beer bottle on the top of the beer bottle when the line takes off and knocks over the beer bottle.
This is actually a thing.
Yeah.
One coil of line or 2 over the beer bottle?
I don't even know if they do a coil, but I mean, you could. Yeah.
You got to have it holding on there somewhere. But when the fish pulls.
Tips the beer bottle over?
Beer bottle over and they got a fish.
You could go with one of those Daiwa MCAS bait runners. That would be ideal.
No, because then that's too much pressure and it'll pull in.
Should be 0. That bait runner, I mean, it's a little pressure. It's not 0.
If it starts taking off, screaming, it's going in for sure.
Well, the carp guys love them anyway.
Yeah, but if you have it on the cart, like we were saying, that if they mount it in the cart, that'd be perfect. Because then it won't pull it in.
Does Bubba make a cart system? Can we special order these carts? Like, I know you're just like a Menards cart or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But don't they make fishing carts?
They do.
They do.
I actually think Pure Fishing made one. I don't know if they still do. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
It was a really high-end cart. It was like a $300 cart.
Right, which is probably a little more than most people want to spend.
Yeah, I spent $130 on a 800-pound lawn cart right down here at Tractor Supply. So.
Okay, yeah. So you can find it, but I thought there was specialized carts for this.
I can look into it. At the end of the day, there's some stuff outside the industry that we don't sell that's maybe more practical for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
But if people have questions, obviously they can come see you, right?
For sure.
And you've done a fair amount of this, Justin, haven't you?
I grew up doing this. I've backed down a little bit. I grew up in Menominee, Michigan. I've floating yarn, casting cranks, you name it. Jess and I go to the harbors a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we muskie fish, the fall is a pretty good time it's a good time for everything, so you can't do it all.
Yep.
So we've really backed down on the salmon, but it's something I've done a lot of. I'm not the skein guy. I've never been a real bait oriented gentleman, but a lot of hardware. Yeah, we do sell the yarn too. Atlas Mikes makes the yarn using the same egg loop that Nick's using. You're just cutting off a small piece of yarn, and again, you're matching your drift to the flow of the current. Same thing he's doing with the bobber.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually once they pick it up, the weight of that shot will keep moving, and it almost slightly seats the hook, so you're kind of on. I don't know. There's all kinds of techniques for this.
It is neat.
And it's a blast, any one of them you choose. It's just a fun fish to catch.
It is so much fun. Hey, I had a question in my mind, just so you know. The drop shotting, what size hook would you recommend for that?
You want to just touch on what that actually is? Lining is what the term is.
Yeah. So, I mean,
ethics, Nick. Where's your ethics on lining in the drop shot method? Where's your
we used to do it all the time as a kid. That's what I grew up on. But I've grown from there. I'm not a big fan of it. But what they're doing is they swim with their mouths open, and then when they see something that's not right, they're curious. They go to check it out, and then they get hooked in the face with a treble hook or
and sometimes too,
whatever.
what they'll do with that. So you imagine you're casting.
Sometimes they just swim right into the line.
Yeah, the angle of your line is running through the water. So literally, if that salmon swims with his mouth open and he keeps pushing forward into that line, he's going to slide that hook and that sinker up into the outside corner of his mouth. Yep. So he's not actually eating the bait, which is why they call it lining.
Yep.
Oh,
it's not.
Well,
it's
I was
very
more or less saying,
controversial
because you said they
fishing
drop
technique.
shot eggs in the harbors is what I was kind of going for.
Yeah, drop shot these things because
that's still the same thing you're referring to, though.
Yep.
It's not as egregious. I don't know what the right term would be. It's a little more. I think it's a little more fish taking in the harbors because you're fishing deep water. These fish aren't packed into a 10-foot wide creek fishing. They're just swimming everywhere, right? So they find that they're like, ooh,
curious
squirrel, and they just taste it or eat it or I don't know, mouth it, spit it.
Yeah, mouth it.
There you go, Dave. You guys want to look at Dave's Facebook stuff?
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
Oh, look at that.
AK Flossing said I made my own cart out of a fertilizer broadcast spreader. Hooked in the face / cheek head is not the mouth. That is totally true.
Right.
Snagging versus
100%.
hooking. Yeah, Robert, I was just trying to skirt the issue.
Well, I wasn't trying to
like
go
politics.
that route. I was just saying you said in the harbors they will like drop shot those eggs. Now those fish are eating it, or are they doing what they're
just checking it out and getting snagged in the face.
Okay.
And you can float skein in the harbors. I've done it. I've had some really good success over the years.
Yep. So you also can float skein on the bottom too, and they're definitely chewing that stuff.
Okay. But so drop shotting this method is totally different than
It's totally different. It's not really ethical.
It's not sporting, right?
So our flossing, lining, and Robert says and Dave agree both snagging. Essentially, that's the perception of most anglers with that technique. Again, slightly controversial, but there are better, more ethical ways to get them. To target the salmonoids.
Yeah.
Which to me sounds like it's
bobbers under a float.
Bobber method is the way to go.
Everybody likes bobber fishing. It's that whole.
It really does.
There's nothing better.
No,
nothing better than a float drop
Walleye, perch, crappies, bluegills, salmon, trout. I mean, when that bobber goes under, there's just something in your brain that triggers you back to when you were 4 years old.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
100%.
Dad says, "Set the hook, son," and that's when you got to fish on. This time
That's
you can
awesome.
get an 18 to 30. What's your biggest right now?
Biggest in the river is 32 pounds.
Holy smokes! How long did it take you to land that thing?
Probably 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
all depends on the fish's attitude.
Yeah,
Right.
it depends
Like,
on the attitude. Yeah,
They're different. They're
because
like
there's 24, 25 pounders that took half hour, 35 minutes.
yep.
and you might catch the next one in 3 minutes, and you
Yeah.
got it in the net already.
I guess it depends on how far they are along in the
Yep,
process.
Yep, for sure.
it's the attitude. They're angry.
38 inches in the river for
38
Dave.
pounds, I'm assuming.
Yep.
38
no,
inches.
38 inches.
Yeah,
38 inches is a good solid 23, 24 pounder.
that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, guys. I don't even know what time it is in the world right now. Anything else we want to wrap this one up with? I mean, we talked about the Labor Day sale. It goes to the 10th. Go to therealshot.com. There's a ton of products that are on there yet. Inventory on some areas is dwindling because it is pretty crazy sales.
Crazy sales.
Crazy good. And the one, like Nick said, too, apparel is a big one. Like,
Yeah.
now's the time.
Yep.
Get that clothing.
Get your fall rain gear. If you need any, if you want to buy any super cheap summer, solar shirts.
Yeah, we're gonna get some heat yet this year.
We should. I don't know. This might have been our push.
I hope not.
I don't know.
Justin. It's
Hey,
not
Farmer's
October,
Almanac.
It's not October, November
So,
yet.
Farmer's
we're gonna
Almanac
get some
collaborated-
70-degree days in
collaborated-
October, November.
Hang it in the current.
Yeah. So check out the sales. Go to therealshot.com. What's the address and the phone number for the store if they want to come see
You
you
remember
boys?
what that is?
I'm pretty sure.
1919 East Calumet Street, Appleton, Wisconsin. Call us. Check us out online. 920-750-6140. Ask for Nick if you're chasing salmon stuff. www.therealshot.com. If you want to order it online, you're not local, we'll ship it to your door. We are shipping pretty fast right now. And as a reminder too, in addition to curing your own aids and Poutsky's, you have our bait dealer bring us cured pre-tied sacks too.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's floats and non-floats. We didn't even cover on the floats, but we have them both way pre-tied also.
Do we have Arctic spinners?
We have Blue Fox spinners, which are what I use.
Yep.
Those are awesome.
I like is it the Vibrex?
Yep.
I like
Vibrate.
They got some pretty
they give
cool-
a little chatter inside of it.
that bell or whatever
some
they
noise,
call it.
pisses them off.
Mm-hmm.
But we have Bink spoons. We have all the moonshine stuff. We have a huge selection of spoons, hardwares, cranks. If that's what you want to do, and you don't want to mess with eggs, you can chuck some gear at them. They'll eat that stuff too. So
Yep. They're territorial, so if there's something that pisses them off, they'll react to it.
Yeah. Huh. Excellent. Well, great job, guys. Well, thanks everybody for the comments, both on Fix TV and Facebook. Now, we try to do this show most Fridays around 9 a.m. We are looking for topics too. So if there's something that you guys want Justin, Nick, Mike, whoever to cover, drop it in the comments, message them on Facebook at The Real Shot on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Will is always monitoring that. The only thing we don't cover on this show is the pew-pew stuff.
The firearm
the
stuff.
fiirarm stuff.
I think we can,
You
you can
can
say the
almost-
word, right?
I don't know if we
Is-
can
are
or
the
not.
police
That's why we
that
say
bad?
pew-pew. That's
God,
where
this world
Show
Hands
is
off.
canceled. We just wasted an
yeah,
hour
I
of
just
time.
wasted. That's where Andrew does that show exclusively on Fix TV. It's called Trigger Talk. They are really working on some really neat stuff, but because of the regulations on social media, that one is on Fix TV, so you have to be a member to watch that one. But Andrew's doing a phenomenal
Well, let's just be.
job.
I mean, Facebook just sucks.
It really does.
It's just dumb.
I'll tell you this: I was
I mean-
listing a backpack for sale on Marketplace, and I think it wrote firearms carrier on it, and they wouldn't let me post it.
See, like, when has society gotten so soft that you can't? A word is so offensive that you don't want people to read it.
Right.
Like, what the? Anyway, different.
But now there's nudity
coming
on
Fix-
Facebook too.
There's nudity.
I'm coming on
Facebook?
the-
Why didn't I see this?
I'm coming
Everywhere.
on the Dude Factor to talk
you
about
can-
that
do
one.
it.
You can have nudity on stuff, but now you can't have firearms.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'd like the stat on how many people were injured based on nudity alone. I mean, I'm sure there's a stat out there.
What
It's
is if
like
you
you'd
guys
be-
did this show naked one time? How do you think that
I
would
think
go?
we'd probably get a lot of viewers. I think it would be a little awkward
I wouldn't be
for
a part
everybody
of that
else
one.
but me.
Yeah. Andy, how big of a blurb can you make? Like mine would probably only work anyways. Yeah. So anyways,
cover it with
just to hit on Bob's comments, we tried to wrap the show up 8 times already, but bow stuff. I think I heard Mike say yesterday, bow strings and cables are 2 to 3 weeks right now. So if you were needing strings and cables for your bows or crossbows and you were hoping to get it back for opener, you waited too long.
Yep.
Well, so on the crossbow side, Mike does stock sets.
He stocks
They're a
them, but
little
he's-
more universal than your compound stuff.
Yep.
It's hard to stock. There's a million bow brands. There's a million bow models. You can't stock them all.
Nope.
It'd be a waste of time and money. So, being this is Gas's busy time of year, just like anything, they are building strings as fast as they can, but that is their turnaround right
Yep.
now. So it's as much on the getting the string ordered and
Yes.
to the door as it is actually getting it out the door.
Well,
So-
when I was up there yesterday, I think there was probably anywhere from 15 to 25 bows and crossbows up there in queue to get done.
Yep. I mean, he's seeing
racks are
2,
full
3,
all the
4,
time.
5 sets from Gas a day.
And that's not including any bow sales that he makes on the day, right?
Right,
Like most people, when they want a bow, they buy a bow, they want to leave with the bow. So, I mean, you got to get your stuff
So
in
the
now.
restring is this pretty typical for this time of year.
Yep.
But if you need arrows cut, scent control, broadheads, trail cameras,
We got
cell
it all.
cameras, you need some feed, mineral, whatever. We got all that stuff ready to rock.
Yeah,
Come on in.
That new Tacticam is really popular.
Yeah.
that thing's slick.
Now, in saying that, though, because you just heard how far out archery is, now is the time to get your firearm stuff in. Even though we said the word again.
Damn it.
Like, now is the time. So if you need a scope, if you need it cleaned, if you need something specialized done, don't wait.
Migra, we got our big load of Migra
yeah,
waterfall
waterfall.
ammunition. Yep. So we got a lot of steel shot.
We have a sonic cleaner.
Well, he's got a huge assortment of trap load for your trap load guys too. So ammunition's getting better. There are some calibers through talking with Andrew. There's some stuff that's still hard to get.
Yep.
That may never change, but
Yeah, and if you're looking for a sweet deal on a shotgun, now's the time.
yeah, if you need waterfall decoys, you need a great deal on a shotgun, and you need some steel shot or some heavy shot, come on and see us. We got lots of it.
All right, everybody, again, it's therealshot.com, 920-750-6140, 1919 East Calumet Street, right here in Appleton. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. There are some seasons that are open, so if you're going to go out there and have a day shooting stuff or catching stuff, do us a favor, share it to our social media pages. It's just look up The Real Shot on Instagram, Facebook. And I don't know if Will's doing the TikTok stuff, but there's a TikTok page out there too. So enjoy your weekend, everybody, and we will see you potentially next week, Friday.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, with the chat. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.